Have you ever noticed that despite eating what you believe is a balanced diet, taking your daily vitamins, and even doing your best to stay active, your body still feels weaker than it used to? Maybe climbing the stairs leaves you breathless, or carrying a grocery bag feels heavier than it should, or perhaps you found yourself avoiding activities you once loved, gardening, walking, or even playing with your grandchildren, because your muscles no longer seem to cooperate. If this sounds familiar, you are not alone. Quick question before we go further. Where are you watching this video from? Type your country in the comments. I'd love to see our global community of seniors. What you are experiencing may be the hidden epidemic that affects nearly 1 in 3 adults over 60, age-related muscle loss, also known as sarcopenia. And while the name sounds complicated, the reality is painfully simple. As we age, our muscles begin to shrink, weaken, and lose their ability to repair themselves. This doesn't just mean less strength, it means a greater risk of falls, slower recovery from illness, and even a reduced ability to live independently. Have you or someone you know ever noticed muscle weakness affecting daily activities like climbing stairs or carrying groceries? Share your experience below. You're not alone. But here's the surprising part. While most people think muscle loss is simply a natural and unavoidable part of aging, science tells us otherwise. The truth is, what you eat, especially the proteins and nutrients you choose, has a direct and powerful effect on how much muscle you keep, or lose, after 60. And today, I'm going to reveal something that might shock you. The very food that has been unfairly demonized for decades, cheese, can actually be your greatest ally in rebuilding muscle and preserving your strength. Yes, you heard that right. Cheese. Do you already eat cheese regularly? Comment yes or no. I'm curious how many of you enjoy it every week. But before you rush to your refrigerator, let me be clear. Not all cheeses are created equal. Some cheeses are true muscle-building powerhouses packed with nutrients that directly support strength, balance, and independence. Others, however, silently sabotage your muscles, accelerating weakness and fatigue. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which 5 cheeses protect your muscles like armor, and which 5 are quietly tearing them apart. I'm Dr. Martin, and this is Senior Thrive, the channel where we break down the latest science into practical steps you can use to thrive, not just survive, after 60. I've spent over 25 years treating seniors, studying nutritional science, and watching firsthand how the right foods can literally change lives. And in this series, I'm going to give you the roadmap to protect your strength and independence for years to come. So, let's begin with the good news. In this first part, I'll reveal the cheeses that actually help your body fight back against muscle loss. Later, in part 2, I'll expose the hidden dangers sitting in almost every senior's fridge. And trust me, you'll want to know which ones are putting your muscles at risk. Let's start with one of the most surprising heroes of muscle preservation: authentic Swiss cheese. Now, most people recognize Swiss cheese by its holes and nutty flavor, but very few realize that those holes are actually the result of bacterial fermentation that unlocks unique compounds with profound benefits for seniors. Swiss cheese contains one of the highest concentrations of vitamin K2 of any food on Earth. And what does vitamin K2 have to do with your muscles? Think of it as a traffic director. Its role is to guide calcium, the mineral most people associate only with bones, into the right places. With adequate K2, calcium is deposited into your muscles and bones, strengthening them. Without it, calcium often ends up in your arteries, where it causes stiffness, cramps, and sometimes even dangerous blockages. But the wonders of Swiss cheese don't stop there. The same bacteria that create its iconic holes also break down proteins into smaller, highly absorbable peptides. For seniors with a digestive system that isn't as efficient as it once was, this means your body can use Swiss cheese protein up to 35% more effectively than proteins from other cheeses. In other words, it's like eating pre-digested protein that your muscles can immediately access. Swiss cheese is also rich in phosphorus, a mineral that works hand in hand with calcium to ensure proper muscle contractions. Many people focus solely on calcium, but without phosphorus, calcium can't do its job. Swiss cheese gives you both in near-perfect balance. And perhaps most fascinating, the aging process of Swiss cheese creates natural bioactive peptides. These compounds have been shown to stimulate muscle protein synthesis while simultaneously reducing muscle breakdown. It's like getting both an accelerator for muscle building and a shield against muscle loss in every bite. There's even large-scale evidence supporting this. Research involving more than 1,200 Swiss seniors revealed that those who included authentic aged Swiss cheese in their diets had better muscle mass retention and significantly fewer fractures compared to those who avoided it. The combination of easy-to-absorb proteins, vitamin K2, and bioactive peptides proved to be a winning formula for protecting both muscles and bones in adults over 65. So how can you use it? The best way is to melt a slice into your morning omelet for a delicious protein boost, add cubes to your salads for lunch, or enjoy it in a whole grain sandwich. Aim for 1 to 2 ounces daily, ideally of imported Swiss varieties aged at least 4 to 6 months. Be careful though, processed, Swiss-style cheeses don't contain the beneficial bacteria or peptides. You need the real thing. Just last month I ran into Eleanor, a 71-year-old retired librarian at the cheese counter of our local grocery store. A year and a half earlier, she had come to me complaining of painful leg cramps at night, hand spasms when gardening, and constant fatigue. Her calcium levels were normal, but I suspected a vitamin K2 deficiency. Like many seniors, she had avoided cheese because her cardiologist warned her about saturated fat. In doing so, she missed one of the richest natural sources of K2. I recommended she try authentic Swiss cheese, just an ounce daily with her lunch. 3 weeks later, her cramps had disappeared, her grip strength improved so much that she returned to her beloved gardening, and she even started volunteering at the library again. When I saw her at the store, she proudly compared labels, choosing aged varieties with confidence.
I wish I'd known about this years ago. It would have saved me months of pain.
Now, let's move to another remarkable ally, ricotta cheese. Within just 20 minutes of eating ricotta, your body receives what many scientists call the gold standard of muscle-building proteins. Just half a cup of whole milk ricotta contains 14 grams of protein, but it's not just the amount that makes it special. Ricotta contains both whey and casein proteins in perfect balance. Whey provides immediate amino acids for quick muscle repair, while casein offers a slow, steady release for long-lasting support. Together, they give your muscles both instant fuel and sustained nourishment. Ricotta is also packed with leucine, the master amino acid that switches on muscle growth. Senior muscles need higher leucine levels than younger ones to stimulate growth, and ricotta delivers over 1.2 grams per half cup, enough to kickstart muscle protein synthesis. And unlike tough meats or heavy proteins, ricotta is soft, creamy, and easy to digest. Many of my patients with sensitive stomachs or dental issues find ricotta the perfect protein source. It even contains natural growth factors from whey, which further boost muscle repair safely and naturally. Research on over 900 elderly participants found that those who included ricotta or other whey-rich dairy gained significantly more lean muscle mass during resistance training compared to those relying on other proteins. Want practical ways to use it? Try ricotta mixed with berries and honey for a breakfast that tastes like dessert. Spread it on whole grain toast with tomatoes and herbs, stir it into pasta sauces, or even blend it into smoothies for creaminess with hidden muscle power. Aim for half to a full cup daily, preferably organic whole milk versions for maximum absorption. Now, let's talk about a nighttime powerhouse, cottage cheese. At first glance, it might seem like a plain, unremarkable food. But don't be fooled. Half a cup of cottage cheese provides 14 grams of pure casein protein, the kind often sold as expensive nighttime supplements. Why is casein so valuable? Because it digests slowly, releasing amino acids steadily for up to 8 hours. While you sleep, your body naturally breaks down muscle tissue for energy, a process called catabolism. After 60, this process accelerates. But casein works like a protective drip feed, continuously supplying your muscles with amino acids all night long. Each serving of cottage cheese also contains 1.2 grams of leucine, the amino acid essential for activating muscle growth signals. And because aging muscles are more resistant to those signals, getting leucine in an easily absorbed form is critical. Research following over 850 seniors for 18 months showed that those who ate cottage cheese daily maintained 23% more muscle mass and recovered faster from physical activity than those who avoided it. The best time to enjoy cottage cheese is 30 minutes before bed. Half to 3/4 of a cup is ideal. Pair it with fruit or nuts for better absorption, or eat it plain if you prefer. And whenever possible, choose full-fat versions. The healthy fats help your body absorb vitamins and minerals needed for muscle repair. Now let me ask you, are you beginning to see the pattern? These natural cheeses aren't just comfort foods, they are powerful tools packed with proteins, amino acids, vitamins, and minerals that directly protect your muscles from age-related decline. Swiss cheese, ricotta, and cottage cheese all work in unique ways, fast-acting, slow-releasing, and highly absorbable, to give your body what it needs at every stage of the day. Which of these three cheeses, Swiss, ricotta, or cottage cheese, would you be most likely to add to your meals this week? Drop your answer below, but here's where it gets urgent. For every cheese that builds you up, there's another one silently breaking you down. In fact, 5 of the most common cheeses sitting in nearly every senior's refrigerator are accelerating muscle loss faster than eating nothing at all. And the most dangerous one? It's marketed as a heart-healthy option, yet it's been linked to 40% faster muscle deterioration in older adults. So don't go anywhere. In the next part, I'll expose the 5 cheeses that are secretly destroying your muscles, and show you how to replace them with options that keep you strong, steady, and independent. This is knowledge every senior deserves to have, and it could change the course of your health. This is knowledge every senior deserves to have, and it could change the course of your health.
Have you ever wondered why some foods that look perfectly harmless or even marketed as healthy can silently destroy your strength as you age? In the first part of this journey, we uncovered 5 powerful allies, the muscle-building cheeses that have been helping seniors reclaim their vitality, restore their independence, and feel decades younger. But as promised, there is another side to this story, one that isn't nearly as uplifting, but is absolutely necessary for you to understand if you want to protect yourself and the people you love. Because just as there are natural cheeses packed with probiotics, protein, and bone-strengthening minerals, there are also imposters. Cheeses so processed, so stripped of their original nutrients, that they actually accelerate muscle loss and rob you of your independence faster than doing nothing at all. I'm Dr. Martin, and after more than 2 decades of treating seniors struggling with sarcopenia, weakness, and declining mobility, I can tell you that the patients who suffer the most are rarely those who skip cheese altogether, but rather those who unknowingly fill their fridges with the wrong types. That's why I call this the hidden enemy problem. These cheeses are not rare. They're in 90% of senior households right now. You may even have some in your refrigerator at this very moment, sitting innocently between the vegetables and the milk, waiting to sabotage your strength. What's your go-to cheese when you're at the grocery store? Type it in the comments. Let's see which one is the most popular here. Before I go deeper, let me be clear. This is not about demonizing all cheese or scaring you unnecessarily. This is about awareness. Because when you learn how to recognize the imposters and replace them with nutrient-rich alternatives, you can turn one of the most common dietary mistakes into one of the greatest opportunities for recovery. Let's start with the one that shocked me most when I began studying these foods: processed American cheese. On the surface, that orange square might look similar to a slice of cheddar or Swiss, but your body knows the difference instantly. Within 30 minutes of eating it, your digestive system encounters something far removed from real cheese. Instead of high-quality protein and beneficial bacteria, it meets emulsifiers, preservatives, and altered proteins that your body struggles to process. A single slice gives you only about 5 grams of protein compared to the 7 or 8 grams you'd get from the same amount of natural cheese. That might sound like a small difference, but when your muscles are fighting every day against age-related breakdown, that gap is enormous. Worse yet, the protein in processed American cheese has reduced bioavailability, meaning your body cannot absorb and utilize it as effectively as protein from natural sources. And as if that weren't enough, the sodium levels in processed slices can reach alarming heights, creating additional strain on your cardiovascular system. I remember my patient Harold, a 72-year-old retired bus driver who came to me convinced he was eating healthily. Every morning, he would toast whole wheat bread, layer it with turkey, and top it with a slice of American cheese, believing he was fueling his muscles with lean protein. Yet Harold complained that his legs were weak. He tired easily after a short walk, and climbing stairs felt like scaling a mountain. When we reviewed his diet together, it became clear that while he was eating plenty of protein on paper, much of it came from low-quality processed cheese. When I asked him to swap the American slices for a natural cheese like Swiss or Parmesan, the change in his energy was almost immediate. Within 2 months, Harold reported that he could walk twice as far without resting, and by the 3rd month, he proudly told me he had resumed his weekend volunteer shifts at the local community center. The difference wasn't just exercise, it was the quality of the fuel he was giving his muscles. That's how deceptive these processed cheeses can be. They make you believe you're doing something good when in reality you're slowing down your own recovery. But processed cheese slices are just the beginning. There are other popular varieties that seniors often turn to, believing they are making the smart choice, when in truth they are undermining their very foundation of strength. These cheeses are often marketed as low-fat or heart-healthy, but the truth hidden behind the label tells a different story. The irony is that many seniors avoid full-fat natural cheeses, fearing the fat content, while embracing reduced-fat processed options that deliver far less nutrition and, in some cases, more additives that disrupt digestion and accelerate muscle deterioration. I remember Eleanor, who I mentioned earlier for her experience with Swiss cheese. Before she made the switch, she had been diligently buying reduced-fat cheese sticks, thinking she was protecting her heart. What she didn't realize was that the very product she believed was keeping her safe was contributing to nightly muscle cramps, weakness in her hands, and endless fatigue. Only when she reintroduced authentic aged Swiss, rich in vitamin K2 and bioactive peptides, did her muscles regain their strength and coordination. That's the cruel reality of these fake healthy options. They rob your muscles quietly, without the dramatic warning signs of an illness, until one day you realize you can no longer carry groceries, garden, or even get out of a chair without effort. The deeper I looked into this problem, the clearer it became. It isn't just about what these processed or low-quality cheeses lack. It's about what they add. Artificial coloring, preservatives, and stabilizers may keep the slices looking perfect in the package, but they add nothing your muscles can use. In fact, they often increase inflammation in the body, which interferes with muscle recovery after physical activity. For seniors who already recover more slowly, this means a greater risk of injury and longer downtime after even minor exertion. I've seen patients who blame their soreness on aging, when in reality their diets were sabotaging their recovery at the cellular level. Once we replace the imposters with natural, nutrient-dense cheeses, many of these same patients experienced faster healing, more energy, and a sense of youthfulness they thought was long gone. Now I want to pause and ask you something important. Which of these cheeses are in your fridge right now? Are you relying on individually wrapped slices, low-fat cheese sticks, or shredded blends with long ingredient lists, thinking you're making a smart choice? If so, don't feel guilty. Remember, these products are marketed to look convenient and health-conscious, but awareness is power. Knowing the truth gives you the ability to make better choices starting today. And let me assure you, the transformation doesn't take years. In fact, many of my patients report improvements in strength, energy, and even mood within weeks of making the switch. That's how responsive your body can be when you give it the right tools. But here's the part that should truly concern you. In my practice and in the research I've studied, one particular type of cheese has been consistently linked to dramatically accelerated muscle loss in seniors. I'm talking about up to 40% faster deterioration compared to peers who avoided it. And yet, this cheese is still widely promoted as a healthy option. Seniors buy it every day, convinced they're protecting their heart or lowering their cholesterol, while in reality, they are putting their independence at risk. The thought of it frustrates me deeply, because it means countless people are suffering needlessly, misled by packaging and advertising that emphasizes one narrow health claim while ignoring the bigger picture of muscle and bone health. This is why I feel so strongly about sharing this information with you. Because if even one person watching today avoids the trap of these harmful cheeses and instead embraces the natural muscle-building options we discussed earlier, then I know this work is worth every hour of research and every late night spent preparing this message. So let me leave you with this. We have explored the powerful allies, the 5 natural cheeses that can rebuild your muscles, restore your confidence, and give you back years of independence. And now we've begun to expose the enemies, the imposters that masquerade as healthy but silently accelerate weakness and frailty. But we're only halfway through this revelation. In the next part, I'm going to show you the full list of the 5 cheeses that are actively destroying your muscles right now. I'll explain exactly why they are so dangerous, how they interact with your body in ways you may never have imagined, and what specific steps you can take to protect yourself and your loved ones starting immediately. You will learn which popular cheese is robbing seniors of their mobility faster than aging itself, why a so-called diet-friendly option has been linked to more falls and fractures, and how a seemingly harmless shredded cheese blend could be eroding your muscle fibers meal by meal. Stay with me, because this knowledge could very well be the difference between years of struggle and years of strength. And before we continue, take a moment to share in the comments below. Are you surprised by what you've learned so far? Have you been avoiding natural cheeses out of fear while unknowingly embracing processed ones? Your experiences matter to me, and often they shape the future videos I prepare. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and ring the notification bell, because the next part of this series could save not just your strength, but your independence. What I'm about to reveal might shock you, but it could also empower you more than anything you've heard so far. Stay tuned. Imagine this. You're standing in the grocery store aisle, and you see those familiar orange slices of American cheese neatly stacked in their plastic wrappers. They look harmless, even comforting, especially because they melt so perfectly on a sandwich. Many seniors choose American cheese thinking it's a mild, convenient option that must be easier to digest. But here's the surprising truth most people don't know. The very processing that makes American cheese smooth and uniform also strips away the natural power that real-aged cheeses provide. Gone are the probiotics and bioactive peptides that traditional cheeses develop during fermentation. Gone is vitamin K2, that crucial nutrient that helps direct calcium into your muscles and bones where it belongs, instead of letting it build up in your arteries. Without enough K2, the calcium you're eating in processed cheese is like having a key that no longer fits the lock. It doesn't actually work where your body needs it most. But that's not even the most alarming part. Most processed cheese products are loaded with phosphate additives. These are chemicals designed to extend shelf life and give that perfectly smooth texture. On paper, they look harmless, but inside your body, they bind to calcium and magnesium, making these minerals far less available to your muscles. Without them, your muscle contractions weaken and strength slowly slips away. Scientists have proven this isn't just theory. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition and Aging followed over 1,200 seniors for 2 years. They discovered that older adults who consumed processed cheese products regularly saw 18% less improvement in muscle strength during resistance training compared to those who ate minimally processed cheeses. Think about that for a second. 2 people doing the same exercises and eating the same amount of protein. But the one choosing real cheese built far more strength than the one eating processed cheese slices. The difference wasn't protein quantity, it was protein quality, and the way it was delivered. Now let's look at another so-called healthy option that's been recommended for decades: low-fat cheese. Many people believe it's the smarter choice because it cuts back on saturated fat. You might even have had a doctor suggest switching to it. But what really happens in your body after eating low-fat cheese might shock you. Within 45 minutes, your digestive system struggles to absorb the fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K, that are naturally found in dairy. These nutrients need fat in order to be absorbed and used effectively, but low-fat cheese doesn't provide it. As a result, you absorb only a fraction of what your muscles truly need. And here's the catch. When manufacturers remove fat, they often replace it with stabilizers, fillers, and extra sodium to maintain texture and flavor. It looks like cheese. It tastes somewhat like cheese, but it's not giving your muscles what real whole milk cheese would. The most concerning part? Without the natural fats, the protein itself becomes less bioavailable. In other words, even if the label shows high protein, your muscles can't use it as effectively. Studies confirm this. Data from the Framingham Heart Study showed that seniors who consumed full-fat dairy products maintained significantly more lean muscle mass over 5 years compared to those who relied on low-fat versions. In fact, the low-fat group lost muscle mass 15% faster, even though their total protein intake looked identical on paper. That's the hidden danger. What seems like a safer choice actually robs your body of the building blocks for strength. Now let's talk about one of the most deceptive culprits: cheese spreads. They come in jars and tubs, advertised as easy, spreadable, and convenient. Within just 20 minutes of eating one of these spreads, your body experiences a massive sodium surge, often 400 to 500 milligrams from a tiny serving. Your kidneys immediately scramble to balance this overload, pulling water out of your muscle cells to dilute and excrete the salt. The result? Dehydrated muscle fibers that can't contract as efficiently or absorb nutrients properly. And that's not all. These spreads usually contain emulsifying salts like sodium phosphate and sodium citrate, added to keep the texture smooth, but they disrupt your body's mineral balance, interfering with the precise ratios of sodium, potassium, and calcium that muscles need to function properly. Many seniors like cheese spreads because they don't require refrigeration and seem easy to add to crackers or vegetables. But what's hiding inside is alarming. Often less than half of the product is even real cheese. The rest is oils, starches, and preservatives that do nothing for your muscles. Even worse, the high sodium content doesn't just dehydrate your cells, it can actually cause your kidneys to flush out calcium and magnesium, draining away the very minerals your muscles depend on. Research backs this up. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition tracked more than 800 seniors for 18 months. Those who regularly consumed high-sodium processed dairy-like cheese spreads showed 22% weaker grip strength and far more muscle cramps than those who chose lower-sodium, minimally processed options. Their muscles weren't just weaker, they were literally breaking down faster because of the imbalance these products created. Next, let's look at flavored cream cheeses with added sugars. Maybe you've seen strawberry or blueberry cream cheese and thought it's just a fun way to enjoy breakfast. But here's what happens inside your body within 30 minutes of spreading that on your bagel. The added sugars cause a sharp spike in blood sugar levels, which then sets off inflammatory reactions that directly interfere with how your muscles use protein. Scientists call this glycation, sugar molecules attaching to proteins and essentially damaging them. It's like coating your muscle fibers in sticky glue, leaving them stiff and unable to contract efficiently. Many seniors believe that flavored cream cheese is a lighter indulgence compared to desserts like cake or cookies. But in reality, some of these spreads contain 6 to 8 grams of added sugar in just 2 teaspoons. That's more than many snack cakes. And the hidden cost is much greater than just calories. Studies with over 1,100 seniors showed that those who consumed foods with added sugars, including sweetened dairy, experienced muscle loss 25% faster than those who avoided them. Even moderate amounts of added sugar were enough to shut down muscle protein synthesis for up to 3 hours. That means, for hours after eating, your muscles essentially stopped repairing themselves. Think of how devastating that can be over weeks, months, and years. Finally, we need to address imitation cheese products. They're often marketed as healthier alternatives, plant-based, dairy-free, or lower in cholesterol. And for those with lactose sensitivity, they may seem like the smart swap. But imitation cheese isn't real cheese at all. Instead of natural milk proteins, these products are built from vegetable oils, starches, and artificial flavors. Your body struggles to even recognize them as food. Unlike authentic cheese, which provides all 9 essential amino acids, imitation cheese proteins are incomplete. They don't contain the full spectrum your muscles need to rebuild and repair. Even worse, many of these products rely on hydrogenated oils and trans fats, which spark chronic low-grade inflammation throughout your body. That inflammation directly blocks the pathways muscles use to absorb amino acids. Instead of rebuilding, your muscles stay in a constant state of breakdown. Researchers observed this effect in a study following more than 650 seniors over 20 months. Those who ate imitation cheese regularly showed 30% less improvement from resistance training and had higher markers of inflammation compared to those eating real aged cheeses. Imagine working hard in the gym, staying active, but seeing only a fraction of the results, because the imitation cheese you're eating is literally blocking your body's ability to grow stronger. So now you know the truth about these 5 cheese imposters: American cheese, low-fat cheese, cheese spreads, flavored cream cheese, and imitation cheese. On the surface, they seem harmless, even healthy in some cases. But inside your body, they quietly steal your strength. They interfere with nutrient absorption, dehydrate your muscles, flood your system with salt and sugar, or trigger inflammation that accelerates muscle loss. And here's where I want to pause and connect with you directly. Be honest with yourself. Which of these cheeses are you eating regularly? Have you been relying on low-fat cheese thinking it's protecting your heart, when in fact it's starving your muscles? Have you reached for cheese spreads or flavored cream cheeses because they were easy and tasty, without realizing what they were doing to your strength? I want you to drop your answer in the comments below. This isn't just about you. It's about all the other seniors in our community who read and learn from these shared experiences. When you open up about what you've been eating and how it's affected you, others realize they're not alone. And I read every single comment because it helps me, as a doctor, understand what real people are struggling with when it comes to nutrition confusion. Here's the exciting part. We're not going to stop here. Because now that we've uncovered the 5 dangerous cheeses that can quietly erode your strength, it's time to discover the foods that can actually rebuild it. Coming up next, I'm going to reveal 7 everyday foods hiding right in your kitchen that contain up to 10 times more protein than eggs. Yes, you heard that right. These overlooked superfoods are so powerful that I've seen patients in their 70s and 80s completely reverse muscle loss. One 73-year-old woman who could barely get out of bed began incorporating these protein sources, and within 4 months, she was deadlifting 95 pounds. An 81-year-old man who had been dependent on a walker regained his independence and mobility after making these foods part of his daily diet. If you're ready to unlock that kind of transformation, you won't want to miss what comes next. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell right now. That way you'll be the first to know when I reveal these life-changing foods. Because the choice you make today, processed cheese that breaks you down, or real nutrition that builds you up, can truly mean the difference between losing independence or regaining strength you thought was gone forever. Stay tuned, because in the next part, your journey to stronger muscles and renewed vitality continues.